Yes. So, hello everyone. Okay, so hello beautiful people. So, here's the eighth episode of Developer Diaries, and we have a very special guest, Eddie, with us. And he don't need any introduction, but still I would give one. So, he is a full stack engineer with 15 plus years of experience. He is a GitHub Star and GitHub Star of the Year. He is a YouTuber, obviously, you all know him, and FreeCodeCamp coach. So, how are you, Eddie?
Hi, I'm awesome. I'm even more awesome because I'm on your channel. So thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much for coming. I was really nervous to ask you that if you want to come on my channel.
No problem at all. Always ask. The worst thing that someone can say is no, but I'm really excited to be here. So I was really honored and excited that you asked me. So thank you so much because you're so consistent. I think I love to help people who like to help other people and who are also
Yeah.
consistent with it. They don't do it like once a year just to tick a box and say to their employer, hey, I helped someone. So no, I really love what you're doing with the community. So it's awesome.
Yeah, same here. I love the work you do, and yeah, I get inspired from you all the time.
Thank you.
You are inspiration for many of us here.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So we have already many people from the chat who is saying hi. So hello everyone. And I have a few questions for you prepared already. So the first question is, I would really love to know your story about how you got into open source.
Okay, sure. I'm sure a few people have heard this already, but for those of you who haven't, yes, I got into open source, and it's probably no surprise, like most people, the first thing I contributed was a typo fix.
Okay.
And actually, let's be honest, the second, third, fifth, and 10th thing was probably a typo fix as well. So what happened was over 10 years ago when I first started in open source, we didn't have GitHub, we didn't have Git. It was all distributed in terms of one project used SVN over here, another project used CVS on this server. You had to set up all your SSH keys to get access and sign these forms. And it was quite hard to get involved, even just for a simple typo fix. That's why it took me quite a long time to get involved, even when I wanted to. So I made a typo fix, and they were really welcoming and said, thank you so much. If you notice any other typos, please fix those as well. So I noticed some others, I fixed those, and I really felt like part of something. I felt I was adding value and contributing, even though it was just a typo. But I felt I was making something better, which I was really happy about. And then I started noticing code coverage wasn't as high as I would like it to be. So that started contributing automated tests. And then some friends noticed some bugs. So we would log those, and people in the community said, oh, great. If you can fix it, that'd be really good. And even a friend of mine came up with the fix, knew what they wanted to do, but was too nervous to submit it as a change. I'm not going to say submit a pull request because there wasn't a pull request at the time, but to submit it. So we worked paired together on it, and we submitted it I submitted it on the behalf of both of us. And it was just so addictive, and it just snowballed from there. And then as I got involved more in the conversation, and then GitHub came out, and it just became like social coding. And it was just so addictive. And that's why I cannot recommend it enough to everyone, because everything that I've achieved really has been from open source.
Yeah, that's amazing. In the beginning, it is tough to start in open source, but when you start, it's like a addiction for our get like Dev community. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So the second question is, there are many projects in open source with a large code base. So how can a beginner start contributing to that? Because it is really overwhelming to see all the code base. So yeah.
I think there's a couple of things that can be done. I mean, one, maybe don't pick such a giant project to get started with. It can
Yeah.
be, I think if you try and do something it's quite difficult, it's a bit off-putting. You need kind of easier wins. So, for example, if someone wanted to run a marathon, you couldn't just say, "Hey, tomorrow go run the marathon," because they probably won't complete it, and then they'll be disheartened. They won't want to run anymore because they just felt they're not very good at it. Whereas if they said, "Okay, tomorrow I'm going to run, I don't know, 500 meters," and then a week later, okay, I'm going to run 1,000 meters, and you just build up to it. Then you could do I don't know how long a marathon is, like 32 kilometers or whatever it is. So then you could build up to it over time. So that's what I would personally recommend. Start off with your friends' projects. Our community has so many awesome projects, and actually someone today, ViViV, who was the first person in the chat, suggested, I do open source project reviews, and people can raise an issue on our community organization and the support repo, and they raise an issue, and I'll review their project on on a video or live stream. But ViViV suggested people to get involved in open source projects, to look at that, and I thought that was such a great idea. So yes, we have our own community projects, but look at other people that are in our community, and a great way is the ones who are submitting them for review. They can filter by their label open source review. But if people really want to get involved in those big open source projects, right? Say they want to run before they can walk, and they won't be put off. That's fine. So if you do have a massive project, and sometimes it happens with company projects as well. When you start a new company, you're starting a new company tomorrow, so congratulations.
Thank you so much.
What they can do is, a lot of these projects usually split into modules. So I would try and focus on a module. Usually they're split into, say, authentication, and then module A, B, and C, and so on. Okay, they'll have better names than that. But I would say look at those modules specifically, and then try and familiarize themselves with one of those modules. And also look at like the coding standards over the whole project. Check out what CI is running. Those sorts of things. Just try and pick off things bite-sized. Try and get the project running locally. So they'll learn a lot by doing that, and maybe they can improve some documentation if it wasn't as easy and as clear to get it up and running. And that happens a lot. So documentation is usually written by people who know the project well, but then they might miss out some steps they just do and just take for granted. A very common one I see is, for example, when people have a quick start guide, they say, okay, step 1, clone our project. Step 2, npm install. And then step 3, npm start. But they've missed out, for the people who are new, they don't realize that they need to go cd into the directory that just got created by the clone. So I see that in a lot of projects, and I think that's a really good contribution. So by going through the quick start, getting the project up and running, they might notice some steps that have been made as an assumption. And then just work through the project slowly. I think that's the best thing to do. I think people try to understand too much at once, and it just doesn't work out very well. So hopefully that helps and answers your question.
Yes, absolutely. The next question is, what kind of skills one should learn to contribute to open source?
The great thing about contributing to open source is it's not just about improving one's technical skills. They're going to improve their communication skills, their collaboration skills, their writing skills, reading. There's so many more. I'm purposely not using the word soft skills, because soft skills are actually quite hard, probably harder.
Yeah.
So by getting involved in open source, they're going to improve so many of their skills. And I don't think they need anything in particular to get started, because they will learn what they need as they go along. That's why it's important to contribute and get involved in the conversation in different projects, because different projects will need different help, have different people, and you can slot in different ways. I mean, when I interview people for my clients, I can really tell if someone contributes to open source, because the way they communicate, the way they answer the questions, they really kind of spoon feed it to the other person, which I think is really important. I'm not trying to belittle other people in the community or myself or anything like that, but other people in the community are usually really busy. They have full-time jobs, and they're doing open source usually on the side. They're probably contributing to loads of other open source projects. So take me as an example. I wake up every morning to hundreds of GitHub notifications, and those aren't projects that I'm watching. Those are actual conversations that I'm involved in. So I do need to read it and have a reply. And the people who are new contributing to open source, you can see that they put like one line answers or responses, or they raise an issue just with the simplest bit of information. It doesn't quite make sense if other people aren't aware of the bigger picture. Whereas you can see if someone contributes to open source more, they will add more information. And to give an example, I can give a couple of examples. One is, you can do this with 2 options. So someone asks a question, say, I want to do this, how should I do it? I say, well, you can either do it this way, or do it this way. And they'll reply going, great, I'll do that. And it's like, okay, but which one? Option A or option B? I don't know which one you're going for. Or another one is people will raise an issue or reply, or in a pull request description say, following our discussion, I'll do that. It's like, okay, I have had like 100 discussions today. Which one are you talking about? Whereas someone who contributes to open source will put a snippet, either copy and paste it from Discord or Twitter, or even if it was on a call, they'll write something saying following our discussion on, and they'll just make it easier for me to understand the context. And so I think that's why contributing to open source will not only improve one's technical skills, but also the communication skills, which I think is really, really important.
Yes, absolutely. I have personally learned many skills through open source, so it's really amazing. And talking about communities, would you like to give some idea about local hack day that is going on, and our guild is at the top. So
Yes. So before I elaborate on that, I just want to say anyone who is part of local hack day, then write in the chat your guild name. So hopefully we'll see Eddie Hub, Eddie Hub, Eddie Hub, but hopefully we'll also see some others as well. So yes, last weekend, I think maybe last Friday. So yeah, about a week ago, the community was talking about local hack day, a hackathon, a week-long hackathon that's happening this week, organized by MLH. And I can't remember who it was, so apologies, but but I know someone in the chat in Discord suggested we should have an Eddie Hub community. And I was like, okay, a guild. And I said, yeah, we can do that. Yeah. So for our community to join in. So I created that, I think it was on Friday or Saturday. And then people were already talking about it. The event started on Sunday, and on Saturday, people were already getting excited, looking at the challenges, trying to see what they can do. And yeah, we started, and we hit second place on the first day. And then I think second day, we were even really close on the second place. And I think it was on the third day we took first. And then fourth or fifth day, we kind of, even made the gap bigger between us in first and the guild in second place. And it's been super exciting. I mean, I have been really blown away by everyone's collaboration. I mean, I'm not mentioning the technical side. Everyone's been great on the technical side, but seeing how people really collaborate, help each other when they get stuck, they really help each other. And even today, after this live stream, we've got another live stream on Siddharth's channel, which we're doing where we're not just having a guild call, we're actually having a guild call with another guild, which I think is going to be awesome. So that's how inclusive our guild and our community is. And so people who want to get into open source, they need to think it's not just about code. It's also about being part of the community, because they can help you. I get motivated by everyone in the community. People like yourself doing YouTube streams, other people doing Git commits, pull request issues, other people in the Discord just saying, hey, Eddie, when's the next live stream? And I'm like, thank you so much. I've got really busy and distracted, but you're right. We do a live stream soon, and I'll schedule something in for the next couple of days. And I just love that. I think it's just so encouraging, so motivating. So just, a big thank you to our awesome community. I think it's just amazing. I love it how these communities are coming together. We have the Bash women community coming together. We have other communities in the Discord, and I just really, really like it. And I think you asked me in the Discord, hey, Eddie, can I share my live stream in your Discord? And I was thinking, of course, because I really like it when people share their content but they also add value to the community in other ways. I don't like it when people don't join in the conversation and just come just to spam their links and they never turn up again until they have more links to share. Whereas people like yourself is adding so much value to the community all the time that I want to help, promote that. I love that. It's not about, if I get more, I don't know what the word is, but like more attention than or you get more attention, I get less. I don't believe that at all. I believe that we should all support each other and just help each other out. So yeah, I love that.
Of course, that's the best thing you can learn from the community, that there is no ego between the communities, but we are welcoming and supportive.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
Lots of Eddie Hubs in the chat.
Yes, everyone. I know everyone. Yeah. Okay, so the next question is what opportunities we have in open source?
Sure. So before I say that, I'm just going to remind everyone because I think you've forgotten, you haven't reminded everyone to give this video a thumbs up and
Oh, yeah.
subscribe to this awesome YouTube channel and share it with your friends as well. Okay, so what opportunities are there in open source? I just think there are so many. I briefly mentioned before that all the great clients, the great projects, all the achievements I have had, like you mentioned GitHub Star, GitHub Star of the Year,
Yeah.
have all been from open source. Like I cannot put it down to anything else. Like LinkedIn has given me nothing. Twitter, I've got some more followers from it, and I enjoy the conversations on there. But all the achievements and work, jobs, projects, clients, whatever you want to call it, have all been from open source and GitHub. So there is no limit to what can be achieved. So more recently, I'm getting more sponsors on GitHub, so therefore I'm making money from GitHub as well, and I love that. Even people sponsoring me just $1, I love that. It feels like I love it when people just share. Like everyone watching,
Yeah.
share a screenshot of this on socials and tag Seema and me, and we'll definitely like it. But if you want to get a reshare or a retweet from us, you've got to add value. And I say this all the time about open source and so
Yes.
on.
Yes.
So what you can do by adding value is when you take a screenshot of this and share it on socials, tag both of us, but also put in like a quote or one of your favorite moments that you remember or something that you learned today in the live stream that you enjoyed, whatever it is. But people who missed out on the live stream, if you can not only show them the screenshot that it was fun and so forth, but also add value on something that they missed, then we're going to retweet that. Therefore, our network will become aware of their network. And I can't encourage that enough. So opportunities, let me go back to that. I kind of digressed a bit. So as we mentioned, you're going to learn, technical skills, communication, collaboration skills. Also, companies are looking more and more on GitHub. The offers that I have got from some of the biggest companies in the world have all been because of my GitHub. They've literally messaged me and said, love what you're doing in open source. This is going back quite a few years. I know now I've become, I say, more popular. Even before when I was once less popular, they're looking for people to see, do they have the right attitude? Do they collaborate well? I know when I'm hiring people for my projects or my client projects, I'm looking at how people communicate. That's more important than their technical skills because technical skills can be
Yeah.
taught. But attitude and
Yes.
communication is more difficult to teach. If someone doesn't want to collaborate, you can't really force them to do it. Whereas if someone,
Yeah.
say, needs some improvements on their coding, then they'll probably want to learn and you can show them, and that's a lot easier to do. So we usually hire people now more and more on the right attitude and communication. So there is GitHub sponsors. So if people, want to make money from open source, you can do GitHub sponsors. People can get job opportunities. People can use GitHub as their CV because you can't, because on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, right, you can write whatever you want. I could say, hey, I'm CEO of, I don't know, Google or whatever. People won't believe it. But
Yeah.
my point is that people could write whatever they want. Whereas on GitHub, your work is there, your communication is there. You can't say, "Oh, I submitted this pull request a year ago. It was amazing." If you didn't, because you can't just write anything. The dates, everything's like date stamped with time with the
Yeah.
author, and I just love that. And I think it's important to show people to show their journey because when I hire people sometimes or my clients say, "Hey, can you interview this person?" They've actually got a GitHub link. And I look at their GitHub and they know they're applying for a job. So 3 weeks ago, they spent the entire weekend doing like 200 commits. And that to me, that isn't great because I can't see what they were like before that, after that, and so on. So I don't think people should try and go crazy and try and do it all in a weekend or a week, whatever. It's really good to do little and often, and therefore people can see your journey. Because I love looking at people's code, say today, and it doesn't really matter what state it in. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'll tell everyone a secret here: no one's code's ever perfect. But then I like to look at what their code was a month ago, 3 months ago, and seeing that they're improving, and that's the most important thing, rather than seeing
Yeah.
that they're just doing the same thing over and over again. So, yeah, I don't know if I've answered your question. I've kind of gone off on a few tangents. So let me know if you want to dig deeper into any of those areas.
Uh, no, that's perfect. And I want to say one thing that I love your videos and I do join your live streams. And one thing you always say is green square a day keeps Eddie away. So that's amazing.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
really like that.
thank you so much. I was just really keen to. That's one thing we do in our Discord. We have a channel that has first timers, and we put issues there that people can
Yes.
create. By creating an issue, they can get a green square for today. We're really keen in our inclusive community to make sure everyone just has a bit of activity on GitHub, because as we mentioned before, it does get quite addictive. So if we can just
Yes.
get people started, then we're hoping that they will continue. And yes, there are people who come along and do a few commits and then we don't see them again, and that's their decision. But we try and encourage more people, and I think more people get more out of it when the more they contribute and help other people, then other people want to help them more. So I've seen some amazing things in our community where someone's stuck, not many people are online, and I wake up the next morning and I see some of the chat, and I love it when someone says, look, I don't know that technology, but I'm happy to bounce some ideas with you. And by the person who was stuck explaining the issue, they said, oh, I've just figured it out. Thank you so much. So the person listening wasn't an expert in that technology and probably wouldn't know the answer. But by being there listening, they've helped the other person already. And that person's name obviously stands out to everyone in the community for just being helpful. So when they need something and they're stuck, people are more likely to jump and help them quickly. So it's kind of like a two-way street. I really believe
Yeah.
that. And I just think it's amazing. It's awesome.
So Priyadarshini has a question: how to ask right questions when asking for help?
I love this question. Actually, I should do
Yeah.
a video on it. I think I might have a similar-ish video because this is really important. I see people asking questions on Discord or, with my client projects or whatever it is, or an open source, and they make it really hard to help them. And that makes the collaboration really difficult. So I always recommend, if someone is stuck, got an error, whatever it is, really share what you've done to get there. And if there's an error, share the error. Don't just share the last line of the error or the first line of the error. Share the whole error.
Yeah.
Give some context, and say what you've tried. Like if for example, let's pick a simple example: doing hello world in an API and it doesn't work. Then but just by saying, hey, I'm doing a hello world in API, I'm using Express, for example, and it doesn't work. Then can someone help me? Question mark. Most people will not jump in and help. Actually, most people when they ask a question, when they're stuck, say, I'm stuck, can someone help? They're not going to get any responses because no one wants to
Yeah.
claim responsibility to help if they don't know what they're helping on. So I highly recommend everyone to say, hey, I'm using Express, I've got a Hello World app, and I'm not getting a response. I have tried this and this, but it still didn't work. I followed the documentation that said this. Include what you've tried and include the code. I find it really hard when people are stuck, and they've got an error, but they won't share the error, won't share the code, won't share what they've tried, and it makes it really hard. And I think people are less likely to help that person later on because it was made difficult to help them. People want to help other people, but you need to
Yeah.
make it easier for them to help. So definitely include, as much as you can. Obviously, don't make it a massive essay. They don't want to read lots of stuff, but it's important to put yourself in other people's shoes. And that's why I think it's really important for people to help other people, because you'll learn so much. When you go to help someone else and they don't give you the information you need, you'll see the frustration. So therefore, when you ask
Yes.
for help, you're going to try and reduce that frustration that you had. And that's why I think it's important for people to contribute to open source and also be an open source maintainer themselves. I know a lot of people are saying, hey, I'm not experienced enough or not confident enough or whatever to be an open source maintainer. But if you've got a customized GitHub repo, so you've got a repo that's the same username as your GitHub username, then you're effectively a project maintainer because you have an open source project that other people contribute to. And you will learn so much by people raising issues, by people raising pull requests, and you'll realize that when they raise an issue saying, oh, this will look better if right aligned or center aligned or whatever it is, you're thinking, but which part of it to be center aligned? All of it, part of it? You'll realize that when you raise an issue, you need to put more information on it to give it context. And so I just think that's just really good to see both sides of the coin. So hopefully, Priya, I answer that question. If you want to dig deeper into any area, do let us know in the chat.
Yeah. Personally, I was first the contributor of a project, then I became the maintainer. So I really learned a lot, like how to tackle issues of some other. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just I think it's just something that people need to do, and they'll just learn so much from it. So that's awesome.
Yes. And if we don't know any tech, we get to learn a lot from other people. That's the best
Absolutely.
part of teaching. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the questions that by helping other people, the questions they raise, like I learn so much by creating content and documenting my journey. Because people might ask
Yeah.
a question and I'll be like, oh, I didn't think about that. Let me have a think and iron it out. Or I come up with a suggestion on how to do something. And then someone says, oh, but you could also do this. And I'm like, well, that's actually a really good idea. And I
Yeah.
find that people raising an issue or raising a pull request or being on YouTube or writing a blog post, whatever it is, or a tweet, we're not saying this is the only answer. We're saying this is a suggestion and we're starting the conversation. And then I really want to get other people's experience and, context and all that sort of stuff
Yeah.
to make it better. I've got so much better by collaborating with people. It's just been amazing.
Yes. Brian is asking, how many people are using Linux daily and how many want to?
I think that's a question for everyone in the chat. But for me personally, I I use Linux daily because of Docker images Docker containers I use. They're all based off Ubuntu and on the servers as well, from VMs to Docker containers. In terms of my like desktop, I actually am using a Mac here, and I do have a Windows machine for live streaming and for doing calls like this. That's all that's installed on there, kind of vMix, which is effectively OBS. But I don't work on a desktop on Linux anymore like I used to. I use Mac. So sorry, Brian. I use Linux for everything else, all servers, everything geeking. It's all Linux.
And I have to say, your setup is, I guess, the best I ever seen. Yes, it's really cool. I wish I have some in the future.
Thank you. It took me many years to build this up. So I think it took me about 6 years to build it up. But what you're seeing is actually a mess. It's a temporary office.
I
My
know.
office is redone. So hopefully from next week, I'll be in my proper office and everyone can see what my proper office looks like.
You are saying from the last, I guess, past
It,
few
it's been
weeks.
it's been so long because the office is finished,
Yeah.
but to move all of this stuff takes days. So
Yeah.
I've been putting it off and putting it off.
And also, how you tackle the how you manage time, because I guess you are pretty busy in calls and YouTube and your job. So how you get the time?
That's a great question. Very badly, I think. I'm trying to get better and better, but I have I'll let everyone into a secret. Well, it's not a secret. I say it all the time, but I have an awesome team around me and I have an awesome community. I'm so happy to wake up to so many GitHub notifications, but I'm even happier when I go to those GitHub notifications and those pull requests have already been reviewed. There's already had the conversation
Yeah.
about making improvements, and a lot of the time they're already merged if I've got other maintainers helping me out on those repos. But even on repos where I am the sole project maintainer, for example, like my GitHub custom GitHub profile, I'm the sole maintainer for that. I still see other people review it and give suggestions and even approve it. Yes, they can't merge it, but then when I get to it, they've already had the discussion. It's already been approved, and I can just hit merge, and I really love that. So the community is amazing, and I think that's great. And those people definitely stand out. So when my client says, "Hey, I need someone to do X or Y or Z in our team, who you're going to recommend?" I'm going to recommend people from our community, especially the ones who I see have the right attitude in collaborating and doing those things all the time. But going back to my team, I do have a great team that helps me. Like I have a full-time video editor. She's amazing. She really helps me create a lot of content, which is really good. I have someone helping me with UI, UX. I have a technical writer that's helping me with stuff. So I put down some bullet points and they'll make it more into like a blog post or whatever it needs to be. And yeah, I'm growing my team all the time as I need to. And I think the best way, if someone wants to go work for a company or work with someone, then get on their radar by adding value, be it on social media, be it
Yeah.
on GitHub. Just keep adding value to their community, and you're going to get on their radar. I had a GitHub Star on my YouTube channel yesterday, Debbie,
Yes.
and you were saying how she got into open source and how she got on the radar of some amazing maintainers, got invited to dinner with them, that end up working with them on their project and all the rest. And now she's paid to contribute to open source on their open source project in Next.js. And it was all from a cereal bar. And people who didn't see that live stream yesterday, let me explain. This other person, so the project maintainer, was at an event, and I think they said that they were really hungry. They didn't have time to have lunch, and so forth. And there was no food or something available at the time. And she thought, well, I've got a cereal bar in my bag. I could share it with them. That's adding value to them, right? It's going to give them energy so they can, talk more and collaborate more with the community at this conference. And she thought, I'd be silly to give them a cereal bar. Why are they going to want a cereal bar from me and so forth. In the end, she built up the courage to go and gave them the cereal bar. But from that, she got invited to dinner with them. And like I said, got involved in their open source project and all the rest. And so it doesn't just always have to be tech related. It can be, adding value. And I've got so many examples I can't think of right now, but so many people in our community add value to things that I post, to our community website, to helping other people. I just love that. I think it's amazing. And I can definitely see those people going far in the world. I hope they remember me when they're rich and famous.
Absolutely, they will remember you.
But yeah, so I'm quite bad at managing my time. I think I have a lot of like spinning plates moving from clients to open source projects to social to my YouTube channel, and I need to get a bit better. And I'm trying to get more organized, I think, as well. And like I said, my team is great. I might have to grow the team a little bit. I might need a virtual assistant to help me with some notifications and admin tasks and so on. So I am looking at even getting more efficient. I'm actually looking at reducing my client work a little bit so I can spend more time with the community by people being so inclusive in the community, welcoming people in our Discord, sharing my YouTube videos, all this sorts of stuff. Obviously makes me really happy, but also allows me to charge a little bit more to my clients, which means I can work less with my clients and do more for the community. So I really want to invest that with my time and hopefully with some budget. Speaking to some clients about getting gifts and giveaways and stuff for our community. And again, that's all down to the awesomeness of the community. It allows me to say, hey, look at our community. They're really helping each other out. Let's give some of your stuff away. Or can we do maybe, I'm speaking to some of them about doing a hackathon next month and maybe having some prizes. Okay, they're not going to be huge. It might be like $100 or whatever it is. But again, I'd love that to go to our community. So yeah, just everyone keep up the great work. Thank you so much for, just shout outs and everything you do and helping each other. I think last year was a hard year for everybody. I'm hoping this year is going to be considerably better. It's better already. I'm just seeing like local hack days going so well. It's actually given me some great examples to share with some of my clients. There is some talk about a hackathon coming up and, like I said, some giveaways and money as well. So it's going to be quite interesting.
That's awesome. Okay, so we have a few things in the chat going on, so I'll read it out. So Mikey is saying, totally agree with that. Don't ask to ask, just ask and share code, share error, share what you expect the code to do. This is at a minimum when asking for help. That's really, that's absolutely
That's awesome.
right.
And the person that I was speaking about earlier, when I said, someone asked a question and the person said, hey, I can help, but I'm not familiar with that technology. It was actually Mikey. So Mikey, thanks for that answer. And thank you for helping other people out in the community. It's just awesome. Mikey's always there for everybody. And I think it's great. So I think the point I'm trying to highlight is not only is Mikey an awesome person, but also you don't have to be an expert in an area to help someone. Just sometimes being there and listening and just bouncing ideas is really, really helpful.
Yeah. Brian is saying that is so cool. What a studio Addy has.
Thanks, Brian. I love ViViV, hopefully I pronounced it right. It's comment. Eddie's mess is a thousand times better than mine. That's
Yes,
made my day. That's really funny.
I agree with bye. Lakshay is saying, "Hi man, great work. I will remember you." Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so I have, yeah, please.
I was going to say, everyone, I really love it in the chat, and also, answer other people's questions in the chat. Remember, get involved in the conversation.
Yeah,
Have the same username on YouTube, GitHub, Twitter. So therefore, when if you help someone here or gave an answer or whatever it is, you stand out. Then when you chat to them on Twitter or send them a pull request or even send them a LinkedIn invite, they're going to remember your name and your profile picture and go,
yeah.
oh yeah, that person added value, accept or recommend or whatever it is. So try and keep them all the same.
Okay, so I have my next question as many students have this common question that if doing open source contribution is enough to get a job.
Yes, I think it's one of the most important things, really. It's more important than the CS degree or any degree. It's more important than your CV. It's more important than your LinkedIn profile. Uh, Open source, contribute to open source, your GitHub profile is, I really believe, the most important thing. And it's becoming more and more important. I get loads of messages on LinkedIn. A lot of them are spam and useless, but the ones that are relevant are because they said, oh, I've seen you do this on GitHub and see the way you collaborate with people. Can you do the same for our open source project or our project isn't open source, but we want to have an open source vibe in our internal project, which is kind of weird, but if they're going to pay me to do it, then I'm not going to say no. So definitely do that. I cannot strongly recommend it enough. And you don't have to be an expert in technology. You don't even have to be an expert in the industry in any area. Just even being new to tech is a fresh pair of eyes, really adds value. I say this all the time, and to give an example, when someone new joins our team, no matter what level they're at, from new to tech or experienced in tech, actually I prefer it when they're new to tech because they give a really
Yeah,
fresh perspective. I always say to them when they join our team, have a look at our project, GitHub repo, and tell us what the project's about and tell us what you can improve. And they look at me and go, but I don't know your project. I don't. And I'm like, that's good because you'll spot things that we've overlooked and missed. And the
yeah,
fresh pair of eyes can add just so much value. And I love it. And they say, but what happens if I don't understand the project? And I reply to them and say, well, we've done something wrong and hopefully we'll make it better for the person after you. So it was always, making improvements that way. So yes. And if you keep adding value to a project, like if you raise an issue on a project and say, hey, I want to do this, can you help me do this? Then they'll probably help you, but they're not going to help you as much if you keep adding value. Whereas if I see one of our projects, someone keeps trying, adding value, making improvements to issues, doesn't have to be pull requests. When they say, hey, I want to do this, but I need some help, everyone, including myself, are more likely to help them because they're dedicated. They haven't just come in here just to do that checkbox exercise and disappear off and we never see them again. So the more that you invest in open source, you invest in the community, you invest in projects, the more it will invest in you and help you with harder things and so forth. So yeah.
okay. Aditya is saying, I'm hanging with that new to tech statement for almost a month now. That statement and I are in an unhealthy phase right now. Yeah, so that is the question, how to get out of that.
Um, I don't know if we do, because after 15 years, I still think I'm new to tech in that
Yeah,
every day I'm learning something new. And that's what gets me up in the morning. Okay, the community, awesome community as well. But I love the
yeah,
idea of learning something new. So I'm looking at, for example, at Nest.js to build APIs and so forth. And that's something new that I need to look at. It's built with Express and so on. But that's something new. Um, Yesterday on the live stream, I mentioned, oh, I did a lot. I did a video. There's a bit of an inception here. So yesterday on the live stream, I was talking about a video done previously, and I said, oh, you can do Git remove remote origin, Git add remote origin in the new URL. And And I was saying how in the video comments, someone suggested you could actually just do an update rather than 2 commands. You could do it in one. In yesterday's live stream, I said, but I can't remember the command to do it. I said update, but I don't think it's update. And I think it was ViViV wrote, oh, it's set URL. And I was like, thank you so much. So I'm still even learning now, even though I was teaching something ages ago, I've now, and I learned something new at the time from the comments in the chat. Yesterday, someone reminded me about it, and now I haven't forgotten. So I actually remembered this time. So I just think that's awesome. So just by keep adding value over and over again to people, you're going to learn more yourself, and then they're going to share more with you. So if it's unhealthy, then I think definitely chat to the community more and let them, big you up, motivate you, because we do motivate each other. Try for it not to be unhealthy. I think it's healthy to be always learning. I think that's the important part.
Yeah. So one thing I always say is that we stuck in tutorial hell, and I think the contributing to open source is the best way to get out of it. Do you think it's right?
Yes, I agree. Yes, 100%. Tutorial hell is dangerous. I see people saying, "Hey, I've watched thousands of hours of videos. I've bought this course and this course and this free course and so on, and I still can't build Hello World." And the only way you're going to learn is to actually do it. Either build it yourself or contribute to open source. I think do both.
Yeah.
And like, for example, if you go to the gym and you watch, you get a personal trainer, right? You've got all this money, you get a personal trainer, the best personal trainer in the world, and the personal trainer is showing you how to do sit-ups. You can watch them and you can learn a little bit more each time as they show you. You're never going to get a six-pack by watching someone else doing the sit-ups. You're never going to get the right technique or improve the technique even further until you do it. Because theory is one thing and being practical is another. And so even though you might have learned from a personal trainer all this theory, if you actually do the sit-up, you're not going to realize what feels right, what's awkward, and so forth. And then for the personal trainer to see you and give you some suggestions and feedback. We're doing the project yourself locally after a tutorial is great. You will learn a lot. But by doing it publicly open source on your own projects or contributing to other projects, you will learn so much more, because it's like having that personal trainer give you feedback on what you're doing. And that's just the way to accelerate your career. People ask, oh, I'm learning slower than others. And it's like, you're not learning slower than others. It's just you're doing it more. Either you're just watching videos, tutorial hell, or you're doing it all privately. If you do it publicly, that's how you learn faster. You become more accountable. Other people can review your work and help you. So definitely do it publicly. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me for a second.
Yeah, that's okay.
I didn't sneeze in the end. It's going to come in a minute, I'm sure.
Okay. Brian is saying learning something new regularly is the key. Great point. Yeah. And also, I've been doing tech over 40 years and I keep learning every week. Yes, that's the best part in tech actually. We get to learn new things every single day.
It's true. That is the fun part about it. And I know Brian well. Brian meets go to a lot of events in London, and Brian runs Linuxing in London, I think, and a lot of women in tech events. And Brian's still learning every day. So I say I've got over 15 years and I'm still learning. And I think it's great that Brian's got over 40 years and he's still learning. And I think that just also shows that, that is like you said, the fun part of tech, always learning. And we're all learning from each other. I think a lot of people say, hey, I'm new to tech. I can't teach anyone. I need a mentor, etc. and so on. And it's like, no, you can learn from everyone. I can learn from everyone here in this chat. And I do. Not I can. I actually do. Just in Discord conversations, from other people helping each other, from people suggesting other libraries and frameworks. I'm always learning so much. And everyone should be your mentor. So don't try and go for one mentor because you're just one point of view. Everyone you speak to, collaborate with, everyone here in the chat is your mentor. So I learn from everyone here, and I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Sunil is saying the one who has the excitement of learning every day learns or they just sit, give excuse, and run?
So is that more of a statement or a question?
I think it's a statement.
I think, we don't burn out. To do the flip side of that, learning every day is important, but there will be some days where you don't really fancy doing anything learning. You might just watch a tutorial, or you might take the day off. That's also fine. If you can try and watch a tutorial just to kind of, keep things moving along, that's great. Not every day you're going to do something epic and awesome. There will be days when you're tired, you've got family life, whatever it is, the weather's bad, you're not in the mood. And that's fine. I have those days as well. That's why I have the community to kind of nudge me along, or do the opposite and say, Eddie, you've been doing loads of community stuff at the moment. Maybe you need some downtime, you need to relax before you burn out. I've burnt out, and it is the worst thing you do that can happen. So definitely don't get to that stage. And I think the community is really good for encouraging us, but also to making sure we don't, go over the top. When I see people chatting all the time on Discord, it's like, hey, I think you might need some rest. You've been awake all the time. And I love that, but it's about finding that balance. So it's definitely about pushing forward, keep going in the right direction. But don't try and, burn out. Make sure you get rest.
Yes. Okay, Aditya is saying, don't worry, I'll teach you too, Eddie.
Awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. And I personally think, and it's not about age, we can learn from anyone at any stage. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, to give you an example, I did a teen hackathon. So, it was like 12 to 18. And I learned so much that weekend. Like, I was a mentor there, and I learned so much. It was unbelievable. I literally came back and my mind was like, because they look at things so differently. Like, to give an example, we did this like icebreaker so people can meet people in their team, where they get like 15 minutes and they get a pack of spaghetti and they get a pack of marshmallows. And all they have to do, just using those two items, make a marshmallow as high as possible. And I've done this with adult hackathons and all the rest. So I've seen this done lots of times, and around like half a meter to a meter is really good. These kids were going even further. And I was like, oh my God, you've got engineers and computer science people, all these, like, they can't do it this well. But it's because the adults were worried about failing. So they didn't put it together, and you got 2 minutes. Okay, let's put these different sections together, and it broke and there's no time to fix it. Whereas with the kids, they put it together and it breaks, but they've still got like over 10 minutes still to fix it and learn from what they've just done. And then when it broke, they learned something really epic, and I learned something. They noticed that some of the marshmallow cut in half, and they noticed that some of the spaghetti cut in half. And then you see them doing, you know what, let's all break this in half, and we can make it a lot, like, rather than having like big bendy bits, everything was stronger. So they started snapping all the spaghetti in half, breaking all the marshmallows into like two or four. And then they built stuff like 2 meters high. I mean, I was like mind blown. Even I didn't think of that. And I was like, I've done this so many times, and I've never thought or seen anyone do that. So yeah, you can learn from everybody. And I think that's really important.
Yeah. Okay, Dhriti is asking, I'm thinking to start my YouTube channel, but I'm really confused about how to start.
Love this. So we probably can both share some experiences on this. But I want to say, first, don't think about starting it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Start. Like literally today. Do that. That'll be amazing. And don't worry too much about making your video or your live stream, perfect, because I guarantee you that no matter how perfect you make it, your 10th video, your 10th live stream will be so much better than your first. And your 100th will be better than your 10th. So my first video on YouTube was my first like proper edited video that I did. It was at a hackathon at BuzzFeed in London. And it was, the hackathon was about gender pay gap. It was a great hackathon. And we recorded this video with some of our teammates. And we spent quite a couple of hours trying to record like a 10-minute video because we wanted to make it perfect. And then editing it took me like a month because I wanted to make it super perfect. I guarantee you that my 10th video was 100 times better than that first video, and I didn't spend a month editing it. So definitely just put it out there. I was actually looking at my YouTube channel yesterday because someone was asking for a video in my Discord. And I looked back, and even like 3-4 months ago, I see my videos already improving from 3-4 months ago, and I've been doing this almost 3 years. So I just Dree, I'm so bad at pronouncing names. I'm so sorry. Hopefully that's good. Dree, thank you. And everyone else, if you want to do it, just get started. Be it open source, be it blog posting, be it YouTube, whatever it is, just get started. I guarantee you, it will be good, but your ones in the future will be even better. And it's such a great way to stand out. I love it now that when I get job offers or project offers or client offers, whatever you want to call it, a lot of people just chat to me as if they're my friend, and I've never spoken to them before. Because they've watched my YouTube videos, they know how I articulate, how I talk, how I collaborate with people like this. And so I just say, "Oh, Eddie, great to speak to you again. Again, this is the first time we talk." And I say, "Oh, I've watched a few of your videos, and it's just great, etc., etc." And so if people aren't happy about being on video, then start off with blog posts, maybe start off with podcasts, start off with maybe 30-second clips on Twitter and so forth. But the good thing about YouTube is it's evergreen, it's more searchable, it's more discoverable in the longer term, like historically. Whereas things on like Twitter and so forth, they kind of disappear off a week later if they haven't been watched or found. They're probably not going to be found. So it's great. Do it. I'm really excited. I'll be your first subscriber. Set up the YouTube channel and share it in Discord. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So starting a YouTube channel is very similar to doing open source contribution, because the first contribution will be like a normal one, a typo, and that is very similar to our first video. It will be really simple, and we will be really scared to make a pull request and make our first video. So very similar case.
It's true, right? It's always about learning all the time.
Yes.
So tell us a bit more about your YouTube channel. So how long have you been doing it for?
It's been 5 months.
Awesome. And how many videos have you done roughly?
This is my 44th video.
Awesome. That's very cool. You're being consistent, which is really important.
Yeah, I took a break for like a month, and this is
it's we all do take breaks. I took break in, I think, just into the pandemic lockdown. I think like June, July. I took 2 months off as well. So we all do that, and that's fine. But overall, in the kind of the higher level, that things are moving along, and doing things going consistently and going forward. So we need to take a break.
I just thought that my content is really not good, and I was not really satisfied, so I just stopped for a while, and I will continue from now on.
Awesome. Yeah, keep going, definitely.
Yeah. Let me see.
Can I pull one out? I see ViViV saying, wasn't your first video a declaration of war against enterprise developers? Yeah, but it wasn't like that. Was a long time ago, and it was just like for a bit of fun. Like it wasn't serious. I kind of talk more about my being on camera myself and editing the video footage. Yeah, that was just like a joke video where online you just fill in some words and generate the video for you. So I don't really count that. But yes, you're right. That was my first ever post, I think, to YouTube.
Okay. Aditya is asking, going on a tangent here, is there still a gender pay gap in tech, especially in developed countries like UK or US?
There is a huge gender pay gap, and it is another one of my pet peeves. I just think it's strange, because for me, it's like the right person for the job, you pay them what they deserve. If they're male or if they're female, you pay them less. It's just so weird. I just can't comprehend it, but it is huge still. It is getting a bit better, but no, it's still a massive problem. In some places, like double, as in for the same role, a female can get paid half as much as a guy in tech, which is just crazy. Like even 10% different, which is crazy, and it's quite disgusting. So yeah, I'm hoping this gets better and better, and it is improving, but it's just very slowly. I think it's because a lot of companies don't want people to talk about what they earn, and they encourage that because then people don't know. So usually it's not until after they leave, or both people leave, like you have a friend at a company and you've both left, and you say, "Oh, remember when we worked at company A?" You go, "Yeah, God, they didn't pay me very well. I was on whatever." They go, oh, really? I was on half that. And they're thinking, what? And it's too late then. So I think something we need to change is be more open and transparent with everything. We're
Yeah.
talking more about mental health now. We're talking about work-life balance more, which is great. I think we need to start talking about money. And then that
Yeah.
way, people can't get screwed over by the companies. Because, if someone's going for a job, yes, we all have different experiences and there's a lot of variables. Generally, it's not going to be exactly the same, but you should at least be on the same page. I think a lot of people are not even on the same book, let alone the same page. So yes, it's not going to be exactly the same, but it should be roughly the same. And that's one thing I'm trying to solve. I just don't know how to do it because a lot of people are scared about sharing because their work has said I can't share publicly. So yeah, we will see. We will see. I'm working on that. Ideas are welcome.
Okay. Brian is saying, when I started my YouTube channel, I read everything, checked everything, but in the end, it was easier just to ask Eddie. 10 minutes versus 6 hours.
Oh yes, we were talking about like OBS and how to do live streaming. I think that was the one. So yeah, I'm not very
Okay.
good with OBS anymore. I'm using vMix, but it's just, the principles are very similar. But yeah, just get started. Ask people. The community want to help, and the community want to
Yeah.
help if you do something with it. So there are some people that no one here, everyone here is awesome, but there's some people that I don't help so much anymore because they say, Eddie, I need help. I'll spend like an hour helping them, and then they'll do nothing with it. I go, Eddie, I want to create a video. I want to do a YouTube channel. I want to contribute to open source. How do I do this? This is the project I want to contribute to, but how can I create this pull request? And what technically should I do as well in the pull request? Spend time helping with them. They'll never raise the pull request, or they'll never do a YouTube video, they'll never go live. And so that takes a lot of my time. And so now I've realized that I want to help other people that do something with the help that I'm giving them. They might not do it in exactly the same way that I'm suggesting. Mine are only from my experience suggestions, but as long as they do something, and then other people who help other people, that's because then I can scale more by just helping someone who takes the knowledge, keeps it quiet, and then disappears, and it comes back when they need help again. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, get more efficient with my time.
Okay. Saksham is asking, how can I get started in app making Android? I am currently in my first year and learning Java and doing a little bit of open source contribution in CNCF conformance.
Awesome. So I'm not in the Android space. I know we have Lael in the chat who is Android and Kotlin developer. So,
Okay.
Android, yes, is Java as well. And you're doing open source, which is great. Documentation, that's fine. It's still adding value and contribution. And CNCF is huge. So that's great. I would just make some apps that scratch an itch for you. So if you think, oh, it'd be great to have an app that does this, then just create it, even if it's a really simple app. You can put it in the marketplace, you don't have to. But by doing that, you're just going to get so much experience. If you put it in the marketplace, well, go end to end and try and get some friends to use it. So maybe ask some friends and say, hey, if you can't think of any ideas, ask some friends and say, what if you could have any app you wanted, what would you want? I'm not talking about another social media platform, anything massive like that, but a lot of the time you could do some apps that are quite straightforward. I mean, look at, for example, like Calendly. I don't know if you're all aware of it, but it's a great way to schedule appointments on other people's calendar. It's a really simple idea, but actually it's really solves the problem, and it's gone crazy. It's awesome. I'm not saying to do anything like even as big as that. I'm saying do something that you might be useful for you and a few friends. And then that way you'll go through the process of like thinking about it, making it, deploying it, and getting feedback from people. And I'm not saying it's going to go big or take off, but do that a few times. So when you go for an interview, when you go for a company discussion, you can say, well, how would you deploy your app? You might say, well, the first app I did it manually, I did this. Then the 10th app I did, it got deployed on CI and it was automatically deployed to the App Store. And it just looks so much more professional that you've gone through those motions already. So I think that just get on and do something. And trust me, again, like with the, like Seema was saying, with open source and YouTube videos and all the rest, your 10th one is going to be so much better than your first one. So just do it and get started.
Uh, okay. So thank you, Brian and FS18. I really don't know your name, but I see you every time in my comment section. So thank you so
Awesome.
much. And Dhriti is saying thank you. And okay,
How
YY is
soon? How soon? Today? Tomorrow? We want to know. Let us know in the chat how soon. It's the weekend, so you could do a live stream or a video this weekend. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
yeah. I am planning
So
on that. YY is asking how about companies based on DAOs. I really don't know what's that.
nor do I. What's DAOs?
With regard to pay gap, the following question is
Okay. So
um,
hopefully, yeah, hopefully we can find out what DAOs are.
yeah. Okay. Meanwhile, I have a question. So, how to like many beginners ask that how to find the right project to contribute to. So, what would be your advice to that?
It's another really good question. You're never going to find the right project without getting started, and so if people
Yeah.
are waiting for the right project, then you're never going to find it. You're just never going to find it. You need to get involved in the conversation, get involved in open source, and go through other projects that are good, but they're not the right project either for the speed or the technology or the community, for whatever the reason. There are a lot of variables. Then you're only going to find the right project by going through that, chatting to people on Twitter, seeing what other projects people are working on or contributing to, and so
Yeah.
forth. There are some tips I can give to people to start finding not the right project, but some projects that they might like, and then from that they'll find the right project. Um, for example, one thing is really good. Check that the project's inclusive. What you can do is check that they've got a code of conduct. Check they've got a contributing .md file, so they're encouraging and helping people to contribute. If we're missing any of
Yeah.
those in our projects, let us know. Hopefully, we're not. But also go to the closed pull requests, and it will show you a list of all the merged ones and the closed ones. The merged ones will have a purple icon, and
Yeah.
the closed ones will have a red icon. The ones you're interested in are the closed ones because it's fine for the project maintainer to close pull requests, but are they closed in a inclusive way? Are they closed encouraging them to do something else? So, for example, if someone submits a pull request without raising an issue, there was no discussion there for it to be done, a project maintainer might, say, "Look, thank you very much for this. This is not something I want in the project. Have a look at these issues. It'd be great to have your contribution. If you need any help, let us know." Close. That's fine, and the project maintainer has done that. But you don't want to contribute to a project where the project maintainer has just gone close, 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 because then it's disheartening. You won't know why the project maintainers closed it. Was it bad? Was it just not a feature they wanted? You have no idea. So don't contribute to those projects because it is really disheartening. Even for me, someone with my experience and my involvement in the open source community, is disheartening to go, why was it closed? So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely check that. Another tip is go to the Insights tab at the top of the repo and go down to
Yeah.
Community down the left, and it will list. Has it got like code of conduct? Has it got a license? Has it got a pull request template? All these things to kind of make it easier for people to contribute. So do check that out too. And don't forget that everyone can still search GitHub for issues
Yeah.
with the label first time or help wanted, and you can also then filter by language as well.
Yeah. So Dhriti is saying I'm going to start making the content today.
Yes,
That's amazing.
amazing. That's like perfect. That's made my day. So thank you so much. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay. YY is saying decentralized autonomous organizations.
That you're
So
gonna have to open source it to me. Like, give it to me easier. Like, what do you mean by that? So yeah, I guess companies that are bigger, got loads of offices around the world, and each one works independently. I'm guessing. So some of those big companies. Yeah, explain that a bit more. Then I can curate my answer to be a lot better to what you mean.
yeah. So one question I always ask is that what is your life lesson that you want to share?
I actually have an answer for this,
Okay.
and I don't have a lot of regrets on my journey and what I've done. I'm really happy where I am. I'm really happy where I'm going to get to over the next few years. But I do have two regrets, and don't want people to make the same mistake that I did. I wish I started open source sooner, and I wish I started my YouTube channel sooner. Those are my two only regrets. Yes, I've bought camera equipment that I no longer use, and it was a waste of money and all that sort of stuff. Then that kind of like little regrets, but it's not. I can make that money back. I can sell the equipment. I can give it away. Like it is not going to keep me up at night, or I can fix that. I can change that. Okay, it's not perfect, but I can improve that. But I cannot. I can never, even with all the money, all the time in the world, I can never start open source sooner, and I can never start my YouTube channel sooner. So I highly recommend if you have an idea, you want to do something, just get started. You
Yeah.
will learn so much by doing it. I mean, I started a startup a few years ago. It's completely open source. I've put it on hold at the moment because I've just been so busy. So you can say that it wasn't successful. It's something that I want to continue. I invested a lot of money into it, but I don't regret that because yes, I've made no money from it. But I learned so much from it. Building a team, working with them, working on technologies, and just getting feedback from people. I learned so much. And I hopefully want to pick it up again one day, so it's not completely wasted. But yeah, just do it. You try and spend less time on Netflix, less time gaming. By all
Yeah.
means, do those things because you need to have a break. But don't like binge on something for like 6-8 hours. I think that is a waste. And I did that a long time ago when I burnt out. I mentioned before that I burnt out, so I took 6 months off work to try and start my startup. This is going back maybe like 4 years. But in the end, I was so burnt out that I just gamed for 6 months. And that was a lot of a waste of time. But as much as I love coding and love open source and love the community, I just been burnt out. I just done like 20-hour days, 7 days a week, and it was just way too much. So don't get to that. Definitely have a work-life balance.
Uh, FS18 is saying you are one line. Don't think much about it. Just do it. This inspires me. I'm not professional, but I write my first blog on Medium. Yeah.
Yes, do it. That's awesome. I'm not going to say just do it because that's kind of like Nike's slogan. Don't want them to sue me. I'll say don't think about it too much. Just get started. It doesn't got a ring to it, but
Yeah.
still work.
We got that. Yeah. Yes, I personally think that if we just wait for something, like if we start thinking about that, we will just stuck in the overthinking and we will find ways to not do that. So just start. Yeah. Okay, so YY is saying companies based on contributions on the company's platform rather than regulated via an HR company board, where the information about employees are kept confidential. And the follow up is the people assigning the salaries, etc., only look at the company interaction and the work done by the individual.
Yeah, I think some of the bigger companies have like bands that when you've been there when you've got a certain amount of years experience, you jump into the next band, which is really, I think, again, stupid because I've
Yeah,
interviewed people who've got 20 years in, some, I don't know, defense company supposed to be doing the latest and greatest stuff, and they can't even write a for loop. I kid you not. I interviewed a few people. They obviously the project and this defense company got closed down. It's going back a few years, and then we're paying a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money for this contract role, and it's for like 2 years contract, really good money, and they were giving all the talk. Yeah, we do all this security, performance, all this awesome stuff. Right? Okay, well, how would you write this bit of code? And they were there for like 20 minutes. And look, I'm struggling with this if condition, and I'm struggling to write a for loop. I'm like, what? And so years experience actually just means nothing, which is why when I say over 15 years experience, I always kind of cringe a little bit. To me, it's people learn at different speeds. So someone's 20 years is not going to be the same as someone's 10 years. It could
yeah,
be very different. Someone's 10 years is not going to be the same as someone else's 10 years. But also that 20 years experience person had done like literally 1 year, well, not even, but I've done 1 year 20 times. Is they didn't learn anything new each year, which is again why open source and getting involved in that is so important. And that's why a few years ago, having that interview phase for my client was so painful. Was I learned a lot from it. Was because people who have active GitHub profiles, literally top of the list, top of the pile. And I always say to HR, I'm not interested in years experience because that doesn't mean anything. And I've been bitten by that so many times, time and again. Or people just inflate it. Some people say, oh yeah, I've got 2 years in that. Oh really? How did you do that? Well, I went to a hackathon once and I'm just so great at it. I think I've got like 2 years experience in it. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. Years experience is kind of useless. It's not a metric. And I think it's really hard in tech to gauge that metric. I'm not saying there's an alternative to it, but I think the best thing is open source. People can see your technical skills, you're still learning, that you're collaborating, your communication, all those sorts of things. So going back to the question at hand, I think that's why there is a gender pay gap as well, because in those types of companies that have the bans where HR just gives you a pay rise because you've suddenly got an extra years or extra 3 years experience, then I think a lot of the guys, we not everybody, but a lot of them, I was this kind of guy years and years ago, where you just kind of pick it up. Like, I've been doing that for 3 years. I can get away with saying 6. Whereas I think other people, more minorities, are more honest or do the opposite. I remember interviewing, again, for the same role that I was talking about a few years ago, the other end of the scale. So imagine I've got this guy from a defense company, 20 years experience, and had a disaster, couldn't even write a for loop. And yeah, I had another lady come in who only had a few years experience, and she was amazing, like really amazing, but she didn't sell herself, and I almost didn't hire her because I'm not very good at that. I'm okay at this. But the way, she was really amazing. Let me give an example. So that guy couldn't do the test, and the test was pretty simple. It was designed not to be finished. So it was like, design a logging system to log some data. Don't write the code, just write like the class structure. And if you get time, write some code, but more like the class structure and some pseudo loops and so forth. And she was the only person ever to finish the test, and the test was designed not to be finished. And I was just like blown away. So it was just, so years experience isn't very good. I actually remember saying to her when she said, I'm looking for this sort of money. I remember saying to her, that's too low. Up it, ask more, double it, literally double it, double what you're asking, because that's what everyone else is asking for and they're getting it. And you're better than them and you should be getting at least that. So, but not everyone's, I guess, so honest. And I think that's one of the things I want to kind of be more transparent with as much as we can. I've actually got a new client onboarding at the moment, and we're going to record and potentially live stream or record some of our conversations and calls. I'm really excited about, because I want people to see how you have a client meeting. I'll probably record it, edit it to cut out all the boring parts. But I want people to see that you can go, you've got a full-time job and you've got time, do open source or go freelancing. Or if you want to get into freelancing, how it works, because it isn't easy, but the rewards are great. I've kind of digressed massively. So I don't know if I answered that question or not.
FS18 is saying, thank you very much, Eddie. It took me 15 hours to write one blog, but more happy after writing it. That's amazing. 15 hours
Awesome.
is a lot. Yeah.
Remember, my first video took me a month. And I got faster and faster and faster. So yes, it's always hard. So yeah, just do it. Your 10th blog will be quicker. And
yes,
just one last note on that. Don't always think of it as content creation. I do a lot of my videos as, some of them are content creation, but some of them are kind of like content documentation. So I've got a list of videos that I want to record this weekend. Oh, the paper's green, so it's invisible. You can't see it. Okay, that's not good.
Okay.
But a lot of it is of stuff that I've learned. So I played with Battlesnake during the week, because I know that's one of the challenges at the MLH local hack day.
Yeah.
I thought, what is this? I had a quick play.
Same.
And I loved it. And it was amazing. And I did it on Code Spaces and hosted it publicly from there. And I spent hours trying to figure that port forwarding, all the rest. So I'm going to create a video probably on that, because it's something that I learned, something I want to share. I'm not going to teach you how to make the best Battlesnake, because I haven't got that far, but I will share what I learned. And there's an open source project that does Tailwind CSS, but IntelliSense. And I want to show everyone how to add value by just adding CI to so many open source projects that like have a build command, have a link command, whatever it is. They're not running it on CI. So I want to do a video on that. But just those are examples. I'm not going to bore you with the other things on the list, but trying everyone to document their journey. Like if you've learned something today or this week, then that's great. If you can share it with the community in a blog post, a tweet, a YouTube video, and that's even amazing, even more amazing. And you'll stand out more in like the 0.1% in the tech community.
Nostalgic is saying, what is Eddie community on GitHub?
It's we have an organization called Eddie Jaoude Community. I need to rename everything. I think we're going to go to Eddie Hub from now on, shorter and easier. But we have our community projects on there. You can get involved in those. You can also then you can raise an issue on the support repo. And there's an issue type that says invite me to the organization. We'll send you an invite. Therefore, you can make it public on your profile, and you'll appear in our organization. And there's so many benefits to that. One, you get involved obviously in our projects. The other benefit is people can find you from our organization, and also people can find the community from your profile. So it's kind of like a two-way street. I see everything as a two-way street. So as we mentioned before at the beginning of this live stream, if you want to give Seema and me a shout out, take a screenshot of this and share it on socials, we will definitely like it. But if you want us to give you a shout out, then not only take a screenshot and share it on socials, also add value. What have you learned from this live stream? What did you enjoy the most? What did you find funny? Whatever it is, add value to the tweet, LinkedIn post, and we will reshare it. So therefore, not only do we more likely remember your username, but also our community then can discover that you're adding value to the community as well, and we can give you that exposure. So we're not here just to kind of big ourselves up and try and grow our community the biggest. We want to grow your network, your community, and share your amazing work in the community. But you need to add value to do that. Join the community. We'd love to have you part of that. And
YY is saying, let's have a community battle snake match.
I am thinking about this. So this is something I've been thinking about. I think it'd be great that if I can create a video on how to set up Battlesnake, how to get started. I think there you can use it Repel or Code Spaces, like I said, the example. And then I think it would be really good for us, maybe, I don't know, every week or something, to have an hour where we can all, because I think you can have unlimited Battlesnakes. It'd be great for me to do a live stream, and people can join the game, and we can just play it, and we can just keep a scoreboard of how everyone does, like every week or something. I don't know. I'm thinking of ideas at the moment, so we will think of something. I think that's such a great idea, to have fun, play a game, and code. But some people have said to me, let's do what do you call it? Let's play a game like Among Us or something. And I'm thinking, but gaming's great, but if you can code as well, it's even better. So Battlesnakes, is on the list. So we'll chat more about that in Discord. But I think that'd be really, really good. And maybe we can have some guest people on the live stream as well. So you get not just me on the live stream, maybe you can have other people, interacting as well. So more people can still play, even if you're not on the video on the live stream. You can still join the game, but not everyone wants to be on video. And I think there's only a certain amount of people you can have on the live stream as well. So we all get to play. But so I've got some ideas. We'll chat about it more in Discord. But I've got some ideas. I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts about that.
It would be, I guess, great. I explored Battlesnake and I made one, so it will be awesome. I learned a lot in this during local hack day.
Awesome. You'll have to show me what you made. Have you got a link? Send it to me on Discord after. I'd love to have a look at it.
Yeah, sure. Brian is saying, I wish I could find the Fortran I did 40 years ago. Wasn't that bad, but not sure I would want it in open, as it's impossible to compile without a DEC10 mainframe. I really don't know what is DEC10 mainframe.
That's before my time as well. Although I did do a little bit of, was it Fortran? I can't remember. At university, there was something I did. But that's before my time as well. Brian, you're showing your age. Brian, JavaScript or TypeScript, something more modern.
Okay, so we took a lot of time from you, but if anyone has any question for Eddie, then you can drop it in the chat. and all of his social handles are already in the description box. Uh, I'm sure you have already subscribed to his channel, so if not, then do it immediately. His content is really awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm loving the questions in the chat and the support as well.
Yeah,
Rattlesnake match, definitely. And yes, brushing the teeth. I didn't use that analogy yet, so I'll use that for the people that have heard it before and the people who haven't. I used the gym one today, so I didn't want to use too many analogies, but brushing your teeth is a really important one. So, we don't, open source is like brushing your teeth, right? You don't wake up in the morning or you don't go to bed at night and go, oh my God, I've got to
yeah,
brush my teeth. Like I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to go to sleep because I don't want to brush my teeth. No, you don't. You just brush your teeth. You just do it. It's just something you do. And if you fall asleep at the TV and you forget to brush your teeth, it's not the end of the world. Your teeth aren't going to go yellow. Your teeth aren't going to go black. They're not going to fall out. It's fine. And open source should be treated the same way in that try and do a little bit every day. So, for example, if you're thinking of, it doesn't have to be a commit. If you're thinking of, okay, this weekend or the next week, I want to build this feature, or raise an issue today about it. Make a note. That could be your contribution for today, and then you could just start a pull request in draft mode and start adding commits to it and so forth. And if you miss a day, it's not the end of the world. Just like brushing your teeth. But overall, over the weekend, over the week, over the month, over the year, you will have such an awesome project, awesome profile, and so many great
yeah.
things. But yeah, just think of it like brushing your teeth. I hope everyone's happy with my brushing my teeth analogy. Are there a few people who was it? Aditya and
Yeah.
you mentioned it.
Okay. Already subscribed to Eddie and Bashwoman. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
okay, it's a mainframe. It's a 36-bit CPU from 1970s. Okay. Okay.
Before our
That's a
time,
new
Ryan,
thing
before our
I
time.
learned today.
Yeah, exactly, right? Still always learning. I love
Okay.
that.
Yeah. One last question: WhatsApp versus Signal.
WhatsApp is dead to me. I don't like Facebook stuff, so yeah, WhatsApp is dead to me. I've moved to Signal, although I don't really use those too much. I use just mainly for family stuff. I use Discord for community. Most of my stuff's on Discord. Discord.
Okay.
I would say a T at the end rather than a D. I don't know why. Oh, and it's
Okay.
open source
So,
and FOSS. Yes, that's true. Open source for the win.
yeah. Okay. So, any other thing that you want to share?
What did someone say in the chat earlier on? A green square a day keeps Eddie away. So yeah, definitely, keep going. And if you have any questions, don't DM me. I'm not saying that because I don't want your questions. I do want to see your questions, but ask for it publicly for two reasons. One, you'll get an answer, quicker from the community. That'll probably help, and I'll try and chime in and give my thoughts. But more importantly, two other reasons. More importantly, one, other people can learn from the discussion, and two, you get different people's perspective. Because if I give you an
Yeah.
answer, it's just my experience, my perspective. Whereas if you get 3 or 4 people, then you can choose. You can see people with more years, less years, different location, different technologies, whatever it is. You can just get to see different perspectives. So yes, please ask your questions. I want your questions, but ask them publicly. And that's a way of
Yeah.
adding value to the community. You'll stand out. I remember some people's names because they ask amazing questions.
Aditya is asking how to convince non-tech users to switch to Signal.
That's a great question. I'm struggling to switch my family over there, but we're using WhatsApp and it works. I have nothing private. I don't care. Like, Dad, you need to move. And if I convince my dad to move, then I think we can convince anyone to move. By saying it's open source is not going to help those non-tech people because they don't understand it, they don't get it, they don't care. For them, as long as they're not paying for it, and it's safe and secure. So I kind of tell them that WhatsApp isn't as safe and secure as it used to be. And something like Signal, or I think there's Telegram and so on that are open source, is better. And so that's what they want. When you talk to people, even if it's someone at your company, talking to them about why you should use, say, GitHub Actions over some other product, whatever it is, you got to show them what value. I think it all comes down to value every time. What value it adds to them. So saying to my dad, "Oh, Signal's open source. We should use it." He doesn't care. Like he doesn't care at all. But for him, if I say to him, "But you do realize you share your bank account details sometimes with us to say, I'll send you some money from this account or whatever it is,"
Yeah.
then you do realize it might not be as safe. Or you do location sharing. You don't know what information they're capturing on that. And I think I saw something that WhatsApp wants more access to your phone for more information and more metadata. So and he's like, "Oh, I don't want you to have more access to my phone." And to him, that was the value for him to move. So I think you got to tailor it to different people. And again, it's like when you're applying for a job and you do a CV. I think CVs are kind of like useless, but most of the time you still need to do a CV to kind of get into their workflow. But
Yeah.
using the same CV for every role is not going to work. You need to yes, the foundations will be the same, but you need to slowly tailor it and tweak it for that specific role to see what points they're
Yeah.
asking for. If they say, "Okay, must be, I don't know, active in the community," then you want to push the community side with your technical skills. Whereas another one saying must be really good at automation testing as well as development, then you want to kind of showcase projects that have more automated testing or whatever it is. But I'm saying you need to just tweak it and emphasize the points that jump out to them. So I'm not an expert in WhatsApp or Signal or anything like that, by all means, and I haven't read all the new T's and C's and so forth. But I think WhatsApp's been going through so many like little incremental changes that haven't been great, and Facebook
Yeah.
itself just not great with all of that anyway. That I decided to jump ship.
Ayushman is saying many non-tech are already moving to Telegram or Signal due to news awareness. So that's good. Okay. Watsal is asking how can anyone can keep himself always motivated to open source. I get tired studying long code sometime.
We all get tired. I think doing things bite size is really important. So picking a project that's an open source project that's moving at the pace you want. I find contributing to say huge projects that you're not living and breathing all the time. They move so fast. So you might raise a pull request. Now there might be conflicts because something else in the code base has changed. You resolve the conflicts. By the time you resolve it, by the time it gets reviewed, there's more conflicts, and it's just really disheartening. So I think you need to pick a project. It's not just about technology. It's not just about the people. It's also about the speed of the project as well. Belonging to a community, I think, is number one. The motivation is amazing. They'll say, "Oh, we need this feature. I haven't got time to do it, but someone else will have a look at it." And it might just be like a one-line code change, but that just gives you that motivation for that day. We actually have lots of those in our community. People, "I haven't got time to raise an issue, but here's some details. Can someone raise an issue so we don't forget?" And they'll raise an issue. You get a green square for today. And someone else might say, "Oh, I can do that. I've done something similar before. I could do that really quickly." Just being in the community, I think, is probably like the most important. It really motivates me, and I can't thank the community
Yes.
enough. I'm just loving all the pictures and drawings that are happening for Eddie
Yeah.
Hub, my new cartoon
Eddie B.
character, Eddie B as well. Like
Yeah. It was
amazing. I'm
amazing. Yeah.
just so good. So for me, that's motivation. I'm like, right, this is awesome. How can I do more for the community because they're doing more? And I think it's just addictive. It really is. So get involved in the community conversation in any way you can. Like if you draw, then draw. If you code, then code. If you write tests, you write tests. If you document, you document. Whatever it is, just think about adding value. It could be value on entertainment. It could be value to make their life easier. It could be improving the project or community in any way. It's just about adding the value for somebody else.
Yeah. Brian is saying tech only really works well when it improves people's life and is relevant to them. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and the great thing about tech is it's built by people for people. So it is really about people. And that's why I think collaboration and communication is first and code is second. Even as a developer, you're not going to be coding 8 hours a day because you've got to talk about the features. You've got to talk about the architecture. Then you might code it and then you're going to demo it and all the rest. And you're going to collaborate on the PR and issues and all the rest. So it really is not just about code. Coding is how open source kind of started, but really it's open source is about the communication and collaboration. The code is definitely secondary.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I guess it's been 1.5 hours. I
It's
didn't
gone
realize that.
so quickly.
Yeah, actually. So yeah, we had a lot of fun questions, and I get to learn a lot from all actually, and especially from you. So, thank you so much for coming here, and I don't know what to say.
No problem. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the amazing questions, everyone. Thank you for Seema
Yeah,
for hosting and organizing this. Everyone watching, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Bash Women's YouTube channel. It's a great channel for so many content, so definitely subscribe.
thank you so much, and yes, we will connect through Discord and the community. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you all in the community on GitHub.org, on Discord.
Yes.
We'll keep the conversation going.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and thank you, Eddie, for giving you a valuable time because I know you are really busy. So, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you, everyone. It's awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.